I'm surprised I got away with it this long. I didn't think I was going to get this far before someone came to me and asked me a ton of questions about what's happening in South Amexem between the Al-Singbey and the Guancile districts. Uh, Once again, it's all about oil. This didn't start out about an oil situation, now, to be fair. This started out with Londinium overtly leaving from Guancile district and not selling a border scenario before they did. The western border, as some would say, between Guancile district and Al-Singbey district um, is heavily jungle. It's a huge jungle area. There's no way in and out over land like that, um, and there's nothing that stands out about it per se. It's basically jungle. However, off the coast of that particular land, oil. During the pandemic, when folks were freaking out about what's going to happen with oil because no one knew, Guancile found oil and started pumping it out. They're part of the reason why whenever Mamlaka al-Saud says they want to see $100 worth of paper per barrel of oil, they don't get it. Because the oil that now comes out of Guancile district, it's a lot of it. And they just recently found a whole lot more of it. And it happens to be off the coast of the area in dispute between Al-Singbey and Guancile district. So, all right, parties had to decide how they want to play this thing out because for a long time, discussions about that particular area in terms of a border, uh, they weren't exactly in the front of everyone's minds. The question about that border situation was there, but parties weren't making a big stink of it, if you would, until they started pumping oil out of Guancile district. Al-Singbey already pumping oil out way before that. Hit with sanctions from a whole lot of folks. They've been in dire straits, if you would. Now, some will say, well, what would be the geo-economic scenario here? Again, large amounts of oil. The oil from basically off the coast of South Amexem only takes 6 Earth days to get here, as opposed to 34 Earth days or 28 Earth days, depending on where it's coming from across the ocean. Well, things have changed. You have a lot of oil coming out of North Amexem, and basically that isolates North Amexem away further and further from whatever goes through the minds of those in what some call the quote-unquote Middle East regarding oil. What happens with oil now out of the so-called Middle East is more an issue for so-called Europe and for the quote-unquote Far East, not so much for North Central and South Amexem. That reality has changed, and that's why the oil price, as they call it, is staying out below 100 so-called dollars worth of paper per barrel. Part of that equation is the oil that comes out of Guancile district and out of the Al-Singbey district. Al-Singbey wants to take over those fields where the newly found oil is. It's not being pumped yet. It's not being exploited yet. So it's known to be there, but it's not being tapped. Al-Singbey wants access to that oil. Now, if these two are going to shoot it out, this is where it becomes a problem. We have a Amexem-Moor-Empire national in the Guancile district. That makes it our business. So we have to pay attention, and I have been. Spent hours, sometimes over 24 hours, just looking, monitoring, because this thing was going so fast. So this is what I do know to be certain. This thing would be, it had to be fought on the river, if you would, because there's two of them in Guancile district, and one of them goes to where the border is, if you would, with Al-Singbey. A portion of their border is also at Rey Bahia. So Rey Bahia sent their forces up there because they're not going to have that. And they're actually on the side of Guancile in this particular matter. So that will eliminate a land issue, a land battle from the southwest or south central Al-Singbey district, which means they have to either go by river or over the ocean. Now, over the river, they would get a fight. Guancile does not have any gunboats. She's got patrol boat river. She's got the ability to have riverines, if you would. They can handle that part. Whether they would win that remains to be seen, though. Much smaller abilities, although they do have them. The issue of concern is that this thing happens by way of ocean. If they do it by way of ocean, now that would be, they got gunboats, they got 2 submarines for Al-Singbey. Neither of them have an air force really to speak of per se. Navy, on the other hand, Al-Singbey kind of has one. Landing ships, they have the ability to land tanks onto a beach. That is a significant threat. Now, they have short-range anti-ship missiles. They got stuff regarding Al-Singbey. Not a lot of it, and a lot of it has mix and match equipment aboard. So the vessel may have come from Al-Andalus. Some of its weaponry may have come from Persia or from Beijing. And then they also have they have corvettes, and they've got a couple of gunboats, and they have a bunch of smaller, not even quite sure what you call that class of vessel. Basically the same boats that the Persians use in the Persian Gulf. Those little small little things. So they can make a nuisance of themselves on the water for Guancile. The thing is, whether or not outside parties that have an interest will stand by and let it go down that way. That is the question. Having Guancile having to be in that position where they had to hope that someone would come to their aid is a major concern. How do we get the Amexem-Moor-Empire nationals out of the way is our concern.